King Thor of Asgard finds himself at a crossroads in his life, but perhaps with a little help from his friends and estranged family, he'll be able to get back on track. All this and more on the pages of Thor issue number 16. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? So then, isn't this fun? As this issue opens up, Donny Cates goes out of his way to basically reassert what his time on Thor means and what the overarching story has been about, and that is ever since King Thor looked inside the Black Winter, the embodiment of the heat death of the universe, he was given a truly terrifying vision by Galactus's progenitor about not only his own death, but the death of the entire Marvel universe as we know it at the hands of Thanos, who at some point in the future not only manages to steal Mjolnir, but also united with the power of the Infinity Stones, and perhaps one other artifact that has yet to be explained. Also, we maybe saw this dark future already in the pages of Thanos Wins, but I digress. It's this image about his impending death that has really pushed King Thor for all of his actions recently, both the good and the bad. It's also not lost on longtime friend and former lover Jane Foster that Thor saw a dark future where Thanos stole his hammer and ended the world, and now Mjolnir is not listening to Thor, and any old person can just pick it up. In fact, even Thor himself put up the hammer for grabs just a couple issues back, which he's only now realizing was really stupid on his part, and tries to defuse the situation by eating a bunch of hot dogs. Oh, so Thor is me and I am Thor, I see. I also eat my emotions when the going gets tough. Now, in the previous issue, we actually learned a pretty interesting fact about Thor and Asgardians when it comes to the topic of time dilation. Basically, they don't perceive the movement of time in the same way regular people from Earth do. Well, guess what? We learn another thing about Thor in this issue, and that is he has a stereotypical Earth guy voice that he pulls out sometimes. And I mean, really, why shouldn't he? As Thor explains, he's been alive for hundreds of thousands of years. He can speak pretty much every Earth language, including some dead ones that haven't been uttered in forever. He came to New York all the way back when it was New Amsterdam. If anything, he's the most New Yorker who ever New Yorked before him. He's walking here. Jane and Thor decide to stow the kingly existential crisis for a bit and get back to their superhero roots by beating up some bad guys. It looks like the Wrecking Crew is doing what they do, robbing a bank. And as is always the case, Asgard's two greatest heroes are able to make very short work of Wrecker and his cronies. Here's where things actually end up getting interesting, though. Thor ends up getting called away by a group of ravens. It seems that his mother, Freya, needs an audience with him, meaning that Valkyrie is going to have to track down the rest of the Wrecking Crew on her own. And here's the thing, Thor actively really wants to keep being a superhero and wants to track down the Wrecking Crew, even though they are the easiest to defeat, even though they are totally superhero busy work. He'd rather do that than do king shit, which is both a wonderful bit of characterization and a beautiful encapsulation of where exactly Thor is at mentally right now. Thor's disappointment only continues to grow, though, when he realizes that the ravens were actually lying to him. His mother doesn't want to have a meeting with him. Instead, it's his drunken, deadbeat dad, Odin, who called him. The two had briefly reunited in the last arc to battle Donald Blake, but it's clear there's still a lot of animosity between these two over how that situation ended, and they still need to have words. However, father and son aren't allowed a chance to have a heart-to-heart as a giant monster ends up attacking them from the forest. Ultimately, though, neither Asgard's current king or her former king are actually able to slay the beast. Instead, it's actually a returning Angela who gets the job done. Yeah, Angela, everybody. Remember her, the former Neil Gaiman creation, the former Spawn character turned Marvel character turned angelic sister to Thor and Loki? Remember when Marvel was all in on her for like a year and then none of that ended up going anywhere? Well, she's back now in Pog form, and Donny Cates is promising she's going to be important for this story as the comic ends. And so that was Thor issue number 16, everybody. Yet another more chilled out, low-key Thor story after the much bigger Donald Blake saga. I gotta say, it is refreshing to see a writer not go from cosmic crisis to cosmic crisis, and that there's a time to wind stuff down and give us some more human looks at our favorite heroes. I don't know if this story is currently breaking any ground in the whole grass is greener on the other side sort of story. I am king, but I don't want to be king, I never wanted to be king, I just want to be a superhero because I had more fun, etc., etc., but it's certainly a very good version of that type of story. I also very much enjoy getting to see the Thanos stuff come back again, as that is essentially the linchpin for this entire Donny Cates Thor run, a threat that is off in the future, and maybe we'll get there at some point. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8 out of 10. This book continues to be consistently good and offer up something different from arc to arc. Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.